Who are the funniest fighters in the UFC? Well, today, guys, we're going to be working out. I've got fighters who I think belong in this tier list all around this screen, and we're going to drag and drop them into where they belong in this tier list. S tier being the funniest guys, all the way down to F tier, who are not as funny, but still funny. There's no one who I don't think is somewhat funny on this list, okay? So we'll just be clear from that from the start. So yeah, I'm MMA Tizzer. Subscribe if you're new here. I'm back. Leave a like if you enjoy the video. Join members if you want. Bonus content on there. And without further ado, let's get right into this funniest UFC fighters tier list video. Starting off with someone who fought last weekend. It's Paul Craig. He's going in C. He's going in B tier. Okay, Paul Craig is pretty funny. This guy in an interview seems to be comedy gold. He's kind of delusional as well. He said he'd beat Khamzat Chimaev, which I think would be a fun fight. He gives reporters what they want when they ask questions. He has a lot of iconic lines. Half of them I can't really say because I'm not trying to get demonetized on this video. But yeah, Paul Craig, really funny. Scottish accent makes him even funnier because Americans love a Scottish accent. Iconic moments. He has some comeback victories which are actually just funny to watch. He's subbed Magomed Ankalaev with like 2 seconds left in the third round after getting dominated in all 3 rounds, which is hilarious. Broke Jamal Hill's arm. That was a pretty crazy fight. This guy just has crazy, really weird fights to watch. They're all kind of weird, but yeah, Paul Craig, funny guy. We move on to another fighter, Charles Oliveira. Now I'm going to put Charles in C, primarily because he can't really joke with his voice because he doesn't really speak English. And I know he had that like sentence or two when he won his last fight against Beneil, but I don't really know if he knew what he was saying as such and he'd just been practicing the line. But his English is, he's learning English now, it's improving. So in the future, I'm sure he will be doing a lot more comedic moments. But for now, only the Portuguese people can understand what he's saying, people that speak Portuguese. He has had some funny moments, when he won his fight. I can't even remember. I think it was against Poirier. Someone gave him some scuba goggles in the crowd and he started dancing with them. Obviously, he ran over when he won the title. He started shaking Joe Rogan's hand, telling him he loved him, stuff like that. So yeah, he has a lot of funny moments. But obviously, his language barrier does draw him back from hitting them top tiers just because, anyone who can't speak Portuguese has no idea what he's saying most of the time. We move on to another fighter. I'm going for Sean Strickland. Now, Sean Strickland, he's getting top of A because this guy, or he's getting the bottom of S here. We'll put him in the bottom of S because this guy's really funny for 99% of the time. But then he does say stuff that is just too crazy sometimes. Like, stuff that normal people wouldn't agree with, and it's just too crazy. And obviously, I'm not going to talk about it because it would definitely get me demonetized because this guy has no filter. And that's what drags him down a bit because some of the stuff he says is just way too over the top. But he's had a lot of like comedy mic moments. This guy, as far as I'm aware, will make the press conference amazing no matter what press conference he's on. He's really funny. His exchange with Israel Adesanya, that was really good too. Even when this guy's like before a fight, his interviews are always good. Even interviews with the Schmo he makes look interesting, which is crazy because the Schmo's just such a hard interviewer to watch nowadays because he's extremely cringe. And this guy's talking in sparring, he's talking in fighting, and he takes a loss really well. He made a lot of jokes about getting knocked out by Alex Pereira, so that that it's stuff like that you just love to see. And this guy's actually single-handedly carrying the middleweight division because he's one of the biggest characters in it. So I really respect him for that. And everyone knows that Sean Strickland has massive mic moments. You give this guy a mic, he will give you a viral video, and we all know that. So that is why Sean Strickland is in S tier. We move on to another fighter, Alex Pereira. Now, Alex Pereira is also going in C tier. He's joining Charles Oliveira. And the reasons are somewhat similar. Now, is Alex Pereira as much as a joker as Charles Oliveira? No, but he's still kind of funny because he's so serious most of the time. This guy has his stone stare. But he'll occasionally smile, which is pretty funny. Obviously, he wore the Pokemon jacket. As far as I'm aware, that's probably his biggest comedy moment. When he was wearing that jacket and pointing to it. And stuff like that, and all of the memes. Obviously, he's got a lot of memes about him, like basically tracking down Adesanya and basically trying to haunt him through multiple sports and stuff like that. And he saw Adesanya at the airport. That was pretty funny. That's another moment I remember from him. But pretty serious guy. But when he makes a slight joke, it's quite funny. Primarily due to the fact that he rarely jokes. So the scarcity really amplifies how funny it is. And obviously this guy he probably does make jokes, but we can't really understand them because he doesn't speak any English really at all. So yeah, he should maybe learn English as well. It would make him even more of a star. We move on to another fighter, Darren Till. Now, Darren Till, I'm going to put him in B tier because Darren Till has some crazy meme moments, particularly about 2-3 years ago. This guy was like one of the biggest meme guys in the UFC. You know, he's got that video where he's screaming in his car, telling someone he's coming for them. He's telling, the beef with Kamzat when he became friends with him, when he was on Instagram Live with Kamzat. And then, this guy just, back in the day, 2 years ago, when it was like prime Darren Till meme comedy moments, he had a lot of them. This guy's, some of his quotes are just crazy. Some of his fights are pretty funny to watch, where he just wilts and gives up. And, he's had a few funny moments. And his friendship with Khamzat Chimaev, that was fun to watch. He had a lot of videos, a lot of funny memes and stuff like that. And I'm sure you all remember when Chimaev was fighting Gilbert Burns and it panned from Gilbert Burns walking out to Chimaev and he was sitting on the fence with Darren Till. That was a big meme at the time. So, it's just stuff like that that make Darren Till funny. Obviously, he's kind of faded a bit in the last while into obscurity. But, so Darren Till goes there. We move on. Sergey Pavlovich. Now, I'm putting him in D tier. He doesn't speak any English as far as I'm aware. But he has had a few funny mic moments that have been translated and are particularly funny. And, have you seen the one where he's hitting the Vegas slots? That was pretty funny. He told his story about how he lost all his money, basically, on the Vegas slots the day of a fight. I mean, I don't know if I'd be doing that if I was a UFC fighter. I think I'd maybe be training for my fight, but Sergey doesn't care. So, and he got the job done. He won by first round knockout, so I'm not even going to critique it. But it's little stuff like that. He has quite a meme following. And, Sergey Pavlovich, D tier, funny guy. Few comedy moments, and if he learned English, I think he could be a really, really big star. But we move on. Another fighter, Johnny Walker. Now, Johnny's going in A, okay? Johnny is pretty funny. He's very weird, very strange. And one of my favourite things about Johnny Walker is he breaks the fourth wall in the UFC. And as far as I'm aware, he's the only person that does it or has ever done it. I'm sure you'll remember, I think it might have been his last fight, actually. He was on the stool in between the rounds, and mid getting lectured by his coach John, he just looks at the camera and stares and goes like that. So that was funny. I like his fourth wall breaks. His dancing's funny. His Instagram's funny. He has a lot of memes. He likes to do pranks on his wife and stuff like that. So it's always funny to watch. His English is really good, and just A tier all round, funny guy. Funny moments in fights, and then this guy's knockout animation. If he was this guy's, when he gets knocked out, it's actually comedic. Like, he has a comedic knockout moment. So, few people can say that. So if that doesn't warrant a place on A tier in the list, I don't know what does. We move on to another fighter. We have Derek Lewis. Now, Derek Lewis is going Derek Lewis is going in S tier, okay? He's going with Strickland. He's funnier than Johnny Walker. This guy has insane meme moments, okay? Him and Strickland both have a lot of meme moments. Derek Lewis has a lot of mic moments, particularly after fights. You know them all, the Ronda Rousey one, just stuff like that. And this guy's a bit of a meme in general. His entire fight strategy is kind of funny to watch. It's kind of crazy that this guy throws one punch around and then somehow wins about half his fights. So that's pretty crazy. This guy's press conferences are always interesting, and his roar. Has anyone noticed his roar? His roar is really funny. He's got a really high pitched roar. So there's that. Always funny. Seems like a really nice guy, and Derek Lewis is undoubtedly an S tier comedy guy on this list. He's very funny. This guy's has loads and loads of funny mic moments, and loads of them have millions and millions of views. So there's absolutely no question that Derek Lewis is one of the funniest guys in the UFC, and a lot of people say that he should be taking up stand-up comedy after he's done. And to be honest, I'm guessing he's probably going to retire after this fight this weekend. So Derek Lewis, why not? Let's get him on a comedy show. Why not? It might be funny. We move on to another fighter, Nate Diaz. Now, Nate Diaz is very funny. This guy has a lot of meme moments as well, particularly in his exchanges with McGregor. The trash talk was quite funny. He's quite hard to understand, which makes some of his comedy moments more funny. He has a lot of famous memes. One of the funniest ones, in my opinion, is where he makes a guy flinch and the guy spills his beer all over himself. That was funny. He did slap a Nelk reporter or something like that. That was another moment that blew up in the last year or so. That did pretty well on socials. That was kind of funny. And yeah, this guy just has a lot of memes about him, and I'm not surprised because Nate Diaz is he's a big meme, isn't he? You know, he's a big UFC meme. I know he's not on the roster anymore, but he'll probably come back for a McGregor trilogy at some point. But I'm still including him because he's a very recent fighter. And yeah, Nate Diaz, every single UFC fan, you know, no matter how casual you are, everyone knows Nate Diaz. He's somewhat of a household name. Most guys who even have watched one UFC fight will be aware of who Nate Diaz is. Your dad probably knows who Nate Diaz is. We move on to another fighter, Michael Bisping. Now, I myself don't think Michael Bisping's that funny anymore. I think he tries a bit too hard. But to be fair to him, when he was a fighter, he was actually really funny. So I have to put him at A tier because when he was a fighter, he was really funny. He had a lot of funny moments, particularly against GSP and Luke Rockhold. Those fights, the trash talk was really funny. Lots of meme moments. He's met a lot of his previous opponents and he's friends with them. So they're always funny videos to watch. He's friends with Luke Rockhold now. He's friends with GSP. So that was funny. Commentary, most of his jokes I don't find funny, but you know, maybe I'm just not his audience. You know, I've grown up a bit. When I was watching when I was younger, he probably was more funny to me. But you can kind of see his jokes coming a mile away. You'll hear someone say something and then you'll feel like, oh, Michael Bisping's probably going to make a pun about this. And then he makes a pun and then it finishes the sentence with, buddy. So yeah, stuff like that, you know, back in his day was very funny. So I'll give him credit where credit's due. We move on. Another S-tier comedian, an S-tier funny fighter, shall we say, Conor McGregor. Now, has Conor McGregor fallen off in the last 3 years? Yes, his trash talk isn't that good anymore, but we're not talking about trash talk, okay? We're just talking about being funny. And this guy, literally, he makes mainstream media with his Twitter videos that make no sense. This guy posts like cryptic messages, cryptic videos that make absolutely no sense. And they literally just blow up all over social media. Things that have nothing to do with MMA, he makes the memes. He has so many iconic memes, like, you know, the no problem mate one, all his stuff when he's watching fights and like walking around his living room, just loads of memes like that. He has so many one-liners. He has the most one-liners in UFC history. So this guy is a big part of mainstream culture. He's a big part of meme culture, to be honest. He has so many memes about him. You know, he has whole stadiums laughing when he says stuff. So it's just stuff like that. And on The Ultimate Fighter, he was pretty funny at times as well, especially when his first fighter finally got a win. His celebration was funny. I found that funny. And yeah, you know, Conor McGregor, love him or hate him, he's pretty funny. You got to admit, his trash talk's not very good now, but you know, things that he still does are pretty funny for the most part. But he has done some things that are completely out of order. But I'm not going to talk about them on this video. We move on. Another fighter, Mike Perry. Now, Mike Perry is very funny. I know he doesn't fight in the UFC anymore, but this guy's got a lot of meme moments. Recently beat Luke Rockhold in bare knuckle boxing. But yeah, one of the funniest Mike Perry moments for me, one of the ones that stands out to me, I just find it hilarious, is when he asked, I'm pretty sure he asked to play the song Stay, and they got the wrong song. So they started playing, I think it was the Rihanna song Stay, which is definitely not the one he asked for because it's like a sob song and it's really sad. But he just went for it anyway and started singing, and I found that hilarious at the time. And he was like, this is the wrong song, and he didn't even care. So fair play to him. You know, can take a joke, can give a joke. So that's why he's an A tier. I'm sure a lot of MMA fans will agree. He's one of the funniest MMA guys. No longer in the UFC, but we're counting him anyway because he has a lot of iconic UFC moments. We move on. Paulo Costa. Now, Paulo Costa definitely deserves this place. In fact, he might, you know what? He's going in it. He's going in S tier, okay? And the reason being is because this guy's Twitter is very, very active. It's basically a meme page at this point. Paulo Costa basically has the UFC meme page. He posts a lot of memes. His English is good now. He's very funny. He's made a lot of parody videos. The Steve Jobs one. He's also made videos with, like, you know, his secret juice joke, which is his joke that he's basically using banned substances in UFC, such as like performance enhancing stuff. Which I think he probably is using, and obviously he brought the bottle to the weigh-in, so stuff like that. You know, this guy just keeps on making new memes out of himself, and that is why he's in S tier. Very funny guy. You know, lots of memes. Even when he got beaten by Adesanya, he literally made his loss into a meme. So it doesn't even matter, and people are quick to forget all the shortcomings in his career. But yeah, he actually just needs to have a fight now, so that would be good to see. But yeah, so he's there. We move on. Sean O'Malley. Now, Sean O'Malley is going in C tier. His jokes kind of missed the mark for the most part. I don't think they're particularly funny. However, his TikTok is very funny. Usually his old ones as well. He has a lot of funny ones. So I remember he did a series show like doing joking fighting moves, and some people commented not realizing he's a fighter and were giving him advice, and then he recreate the video using the advice he gave them, but then deliberately misinterpret it to make them look like they didn't know what they were talking about. And I just found that hilarious because you're getting normal people giving the UFC. He's a UFC title contender now. MMA advice, which I just found hilarious. So yeah, stuff like that makes him in there, but in person he's less funny. But on social media he's quite funny. We move on. Islam Makhachev, he's the final fighter on this list. I think he's funny. I think he's a really funny guy. His English is really good. He's got good English, really improved English. And he has quite a lot of memes. And one of the funniest things I thought he's done is, if anyone remembers that black belt jiu-jitsu conversation he had with Daniel Cormier, that was funny. He's pretty funny. You got to give him credit considering it's his second language. He's learned it well, and he makes a lot of jokes. So fair play to him. Little bit of trash talk, and Islam Makhachev, C tier. I think that's a pretty fair ranking for him. And also, I've just remembered, I forgot Kobe Covington, but if I had to put him anywhere on this list, it'd probably be an A tier, because a lot of the stuff he says is pretty funny, but some of it is also extremely cringe. So yeah, Kobe Covington, America's champ, the king of Miami, would definitely be going in A tier. So yeah. And that is the video, guys. That's the tier list. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment. Who else should I put on this tier list? Obviously, I can't remember everyone, and we've got time constraints and stuff like that. So let me know who else I should add to this list, and comment below if you'd make any changes. And thank you guys so much for watching. Join my members for exclusive content. You don't want to miss that. There's a lot of content on there already, so just go ahead and check that out. And thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.